Welcome back, everybody, to What's Cooking. It's our weekend edition here on this channel of your cable television, this radio station you're listening to. By the way, want to say hello to our good friend Jeff Scheckman, all the good people over at Napa Valley's radio station, KVON.
Yeah.
That's 1440 on your dial there. Doing a lot of wine country radio. Glad to have you here with us. And, of course, everybody listening in on the internet at crntalk.com. The rest of the day, if you don't receive CRN 24/7, you can check it out on the internet. In addition to the internet stream that we have there for you, where you hear the audio, do check out the Ustream feed as well, where not only you listen to the program, you can actually see us live in studio and I guess closest to in person as you possibly can. And talking about in person, had the pleasure not too long ago of visiting Robert Craig Winery, Robert Craig Wines, and joining us here on the What's Cooking program, we happen to have with us none other than Bob Craig. Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us. Prior to the break, we mentioned that, of course, you guys make some great Cabernets, mountain Cabernets, if I'm correct. And before we get on into that, give us kind of the background on kind of how it all got started, how you kind of got involved, and in addition to the Cabernets, what else you guys produce?
Well, it actually got started some 30-some years ago. My first year in the wine business was 1978. And, you know, I'm originally not from California. I actually grew up in South Texas and came to California many years ago in the service. Over the years, went to school here, met my wife. We got interested in wines, go up to the Napa Valley when there were 8 wineries. That dates us into the early 60s. And I was really determined to get in the wine business. And while we lived in San Francisco, I had the opportunity to taste a lot of wine at a really great organization called the Vintners Club in San Francisco. And that's where I discovered mountain wine. So in 1978, when I had a chance to get into business, I headed straight to the mountains. And so we make a Mountain Vitre Cabernet Sauvignon, a Howell Mountain Cabernet Sauvignon, a little bit of Spring Mountain Cabernet Sauvignon, and also a what we call the Affinity, which is a Cabernet Sauvignon blend.
Now, how does this mountainous terroir affect the final product, Robert?
What I've always loved about Mountain Cabernet Sauvignons is the real depth and concentration that you get in the mountains. There's extremely good soil drainage. So the grapes don't pick up much water, so the berries are not diluted. So that gives you really concentrated wines, and if you can make those wines in a style that softens off the tannins, you have I consider some of the really best wines.
A lot of winemakers are renowned for some of the magic that they do, but on the other hand, a lot of people put their trust and faith in the vineyards. Is that your approach?
That's our approach. I think you can make really good wines out of grapes that are good, but I think to make great wines, you have to start with great. You know, you only have one raw material, and that's the grape itself, and that has to have everything that you want to express in the wine.
I've had the pleasure of visiting your tasting room in Napa Valley, but before we talk about that, let's talk a little bit about those vineyards that you have. There's always a lot of interest, as we mentioned, the terroir. Tell us a little bit about the location and what they kind of bring to the table.
Well, the one I started at originally years ago was on Mount Vitre, and I had an investment group that helped me buy into a vineyard up there, but then that was sold sometime later to Donald Hess, became the Hess Collection, and then when I was general manager for some time. Then when I left, I had a chance to plant a vineyard at the extreme northern portion of the Mount Vitre appellation, and really beautifully steep hillsides and just ideal soil. So I was really, really pleased to be able to have that vineyard available when we started our own winery in 1992.
And of course, those hillside vineyards, although sometimes may be difficult to farm and manage, they do yield tremendous fruit, and often they have been said that they yield some of the best fruit.
Well, you know, I'm obviously biased in that regard. I've really loved mountain vineyards for some time, and I really do think that's true. I think you can get the concentration of flavors I mentioned, the depth, the really great structure, And if you can mold all that into a really elegant wine, then you have everything. You have really the power and the elegance. So that's sort of the model of what we try to achieve. And I think that's unique to mountain vineyards. You can only get that depth under certain highly specific growing conditions.
Let's talk about what you're producing at Robert Craig Winery. We mentioned the Cabernets. What else?
We also make a little bit of Chardonnay from a wonderful vineyard over in Sonoma called Durrell Vineyards. We think it's one of the very, very best Chardonnay vineyards that we've ever had a chance to work with. And we make also another tiny bit of Howell Mountain Zinfandel from also a really wonderful vineyard called Black Sears. Obviously for us, vineyard sourcing is a real critical part of what we're trying to do with the wine.
And of course, as a winemaker, is your approach? Do you have a certain approach to, or philosophy on the kind of the taste, the profile that you're looking to accomplish?
Well, when I first got into the wine business in 1978, I really loved mountain wines, but there was an aspect of them that I thought needed some adjustment, and I mentioned the depth and concentration. On the other side of that, what you can have is a real high tannin structure. So what we've been focusing on over the years is to work with that tannin structure to make sure we have grapes that are ripe and fully mature, so you get ripe round tannins in the wine, which are softer tannins, which really blend better with the fruit. And once again, our model, what we try to achieve is a powerful mountain wine that also has some elegance and some approachability. In the old days, mountain wines, what was said is that this is going to be a really wonderful wine, but you have to wait 20 years to drink it. And frankly, that's not how most people drink wines. We don't have 20-year cellars in the United States, and you shouldn't have to wait that long to enjoy a wine.
Now, Robert, what kind of production are you getting out of the vineyards these days?
Well, we make right around 10,000 cases, and half of that, 5,000 cases, is what I mentioned, the Affinity. The Affinity is a wine that it has Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot, and Malbec.
Wow.
And, so it's that adds elegance, and it's a wine that appeals to a lot of palates. So
and of course, at 10,000 cases, that isn't particularly a large amount. That really kind of puts you in a certain class where you're really able to kind of manage with a certain amount of precision.
That's right. We only make 5,000 cases. The 10,000 case balance is made up of the 3 mountain wines and the Chardonnay and the Zinfandel.
Hey, Robert, would you mind hanging on through the break and come back with us for a little more conversation?
Be happy to do that. Thank you.
We're talking with Robert Craig of Robert Craig Wines, learning quite a bit about a winery, 10,000 case production, philosophy, approach to winemaking, and quite a bit more, kind of from early involvement to where we are today. And talk about where we are today, no better place to find out than in the tasting room about what's going on with a particular winery, and we're going to find out about that all coming up next here on CRN Digital Talk. What's cooking?
Has your growing business been putting off building for too long? If you need to build quickly, call Anthem Steel today and discover the Anthem Advantage.